All right, let's get started. Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar, Just the Facts. We're going to do a side-by-side comparison of two CRM platforms, Salesforce versus SugarCRM. And while all microphones are muted to avoid a lot of background noise, we do encourage questions throughout the webinar, so please submit those in the question box in the sidebar. And with that, I will turn it over to our presenters to introduce themselves.
All right, thank you, Sarah. Hi, everyone. My name is Sonia Friedel. I'm president here at BrainSell.
I'm Kevin Cook here, Executive Vice President. I'm going to be showing Sugar today.
All right, and I'll be representing the Salesforce team. So to go over today's agenda, Sarah's going to be our moderator right there in the middle, and thank you so much, Sarah, for putting this all together. We're going to go over just a little bit about our company. Then we're going to go into some basic, just a couple slides on features and differences between the two platforms, really important differences to consider. Then we're going to do a coin toss, and we're going to decide who does their first demo. So Kevin and I have a little list to stick to, and we're really going to be going over some basic CRM management within a 15-minute time period. So Salesforce, 15 minutes, doing the same actions, and then doing the same things in Sugar, so a real side-by-side comparison. Then we're going to go over pricing for software and do a live Q&A session as well.
There'll be one really important difference is my actions will be better. They'll just be better.
No, they won't. So we were founded in 1994. We've been around for quite a while, and we're in the Boston area. If you can't see what's behind my head, it's a Red Sox banner. So we're very proud to be from the Northeast here in Boston. But we have engineers, trainers, and developers all around the country. We really pride ourselves in having an unbiased approach to software selection and also general business process consulting. We help clients try to understand, what their needs are, what might be the best solution, and then help facilitate an implementation if appropriate. Sometimes software is not needed and just processes need to change, and we help advise on that as well. And our mission is really to be able to stick with a client for many, many years, helping them, upgrade their software, integrate new pieces as their business changes. We pride ourselves in being able to change with them. And we're really committed to understanding what success means for you. How can we deliver value for your company to make you more successful with technology? And we love that.
Okay. And before we get started into the meat of everything, should we do a poll, Sonia?
Yeah.
We have one here. Let's see.
Yeah.
Great.
What CRM are you using today? So some of you may be on CRM, some of you may not.
Awesome. And this is a good chance, too, to explain that although we do general business process consulting and vendor selections, we also work with all of these solutions that are on your screen. So we do help implement Salesforce, Sugar, Microsoft Dynamics 365, Infor CRM, ACT, a whole bunch of others. And we also have ERP engineers, so we do accounting software as well, the whole Sage stack, and also marketing automation like HubSpot, Acton, Pardot, you name it.
And we're certified in these too. It's not like we're, just,
sure.
We have experience, we're in the trenches, and we carry certifications from the vendors for these products.
Absolutely.
So it looks like the majority, 36% are on Sugar, and 27% aren't using any CRM at all. So this will be particularly interesting for those folks. Okay.
Good. Well, this should be a really nice view of two leading platforms for you. So I'll talk a little bit about the Salesforce side, and Kev, maybe you can shed some light on the Sugar things here. These are just a couple of little things to consider when you're making a huge decision on a CRM platform. Salesforce for support does have good online support where you're able to put a ticket in and then they follow up. If you want phone support, that's an extra fee. What about Sugar, Kev?
Well, you've got unlimited support through their online portal, but with the Enterprise Edition of Sugar, you've got phone support. So you can dial in. You still get a support case created inside the portal, so you've always got visibility to it. But with the Enterprise Edition, you have a person you can talk to.
Cool. That's great. Salesforce's deployment is on demand, meaning it's a cloud server environment. So just like you'd go to gmail.com, you go to salesforce.com and you log in there. There's not an option to have it hosted internally on your own servers, which usually doesn't matter for a lot of people, right?
Right.
But you can't, at this day and age, but you can't put it on your own server. You can pay more for HIPAA compliant hosting though, and some other special kinds of hosting, but it's still in their cloud.
Yeah, and Sugar, you could also host in the Sugar cloud, no additional cost. But the idea with Sugar is that you're getting a license, and you can deploy that license anywhere you want. So you could deploy in the Sugar cloud, or you can deploy it on your own private cloud, like Azure or Amazon or something like that, or the computer that's under your desk. You could put Sugar on that computer and run it. So you have a little bit more flexibility in that regard. You mentioned HIPAA. So for a lot of customers, they ask us about HIPAA compliance, and we tell them if you really need HIPAA, you can host that and manage it. So you get the flexibility to maintain the kinds of security and the kinds of compliance that you require. That flexibility, you may not have as much with Salesforce.
Okay, yeah, and that probably means that you can do a lot more with a code base if it's on your own environment.
Well, that's true too.
Right.
Yeah, that's true too. If you have it hosted in the Sugar environment, you got to go through some filters to get customization and configuration in there. But if you have it locally, like the computer under my desk, if I wanted to, I'd have complete access to the whole code base and the database and whatnot.
Okay. All right, cool. So there are limitations in every software package, right? Salesforce does have a guide that will outline the limitations. I think the Winter 18 one is 34 pages. So those are just kind of like charge limitations and how many fields you can have in each object and things like that. There are definitely data storage limits in both platforms, right? So you can just find that on any of the pricing pages, and that limitations guide, just Google Salesforce limitations guide, and you'll see the data storage limits and then API calls. So, okay, so let's just talk just a second about data storage. It's not like usually the number of records that you have in the CRM. It's usually attachments. So documents,
right.
That you'll upload, like things like that will add to your storage. So it doesn't matter if you have 1 million contacts. That's usually not going to hit your storage level. And then API calls are, Kevin, you're so much more technical than I, so maybe you can talk about that. But from my perspective, it's anytime you have an integration and you're calling the other database to send information, that's one API call, and they have a limit per edition that you're on. So you just have to make sure when you're making integrations with Salesforce that you watch out for the API limits, because they'll charge you if you exceed that limit that's in the guide.
That's right. It's important to note that, for example, doing something like saving a record may not be just one API call. It could be 4 or 5 API calls. So the process of saving may require more than one API call. Any kind of process may require that. So the difference with Sugar is that you would end up, like Salesforce, there is a cost for data overages. Data overages are only applicable to attached records. Not, you can have, like you said, Sonia, 1 million records. They're not charging for the number of records, but for the things that you connect. A great example is I saw one client who was saving every email. Okay, that's cool, but every email many emails had signature images. All those images counted, all the images in those signatures from people they were attaching counted towards their data overage, and they got hit. So both products have data overages, and then Sugar does not charge for API calls, which if you expect to do a lot of development and you expect to make a lot of API calls, then you may want to consider Sugar side by side with Salesforce or over Salesforce.
Great. Okay, and then the architecture, the underlying code base is Apex. Most times people won't care about that because they're doing point-and-click configuration. Right. But if you want to get to the code base and make custom code, first of all, you'll have to be on the Enterprise Edition of Salesforce. You can't do any custom coding on the Professional or lower editions. And the code is going to be Apex, which is a proprietary code base, different than Sugar.
Yeah, Sugar's written in PHP. And a lot of people know PHP. It's important to note Apex is a proprietary language, but it's a spin-off of Java. So Apex developers are almost always Java developers too. Yep. An important thing to note about the architecture is when you're hosted with Salesforce in their cloud, they can control the architecture quite a bit. With Sugar, you're doing development, you got a little bit more flexibility with the architecture. That's a good and a bad thing, because there's an old adage about desktop publishing. When printers came out, anybody could be a desktop publisher. That was the problem. Anybody could be a desktop publisher. So anybody can manipulate the Sugar code. It's easy to do. PHP is an easy language to learn, but that also means you're not, because the way they're hosted or potentially hosted, you may not have the same strictures that that Salesforce has. So it's the wild, wild west to some degree. Good and bad. Has good and bad parts.
Okay. And then the user minimum on Salesforce is none. Like, you can have one user, and on Sugar it's 10, right? 10.
That's right. 10 user minimum. Yeah.
Okay.
User minimum.
All right. And Outlook integration. We don't have time. We're delegating ourselves 15 minutes each for these demos. So we don't have time to get into every aspect of each application, but here's a view of the Outlook integration on both. So we've got Salesforce view and really nice side panel, kind of same thing as Sugar. So nice side panel views here. And the objective is to be able to archive emails, to make them carbon copy into the CRM, and also just to see things that are going on right from within Outlook, so you don't have to navigate into the CRM to do everything. One slight difference with the Salesforce one is you can edit things within that sidebar in Outlook, and you can't do that in the Sugar one. You'd need an aftermarket one, which they're like $12 a user a month.
That's a big difference. It's an important difference.
Yeah. And there's a Gmail one for Salesforce. There's for Sugar that you'd pay extra for the Gmail one. But you get that for free with Salesforce, or included. Nothing's free, right? This is also free.
And both the integrations attach to your inbox and to your calendar. So that's important to note that they both synchronize your activities too.
And contacts. And then this is a view of the mobile. Salesforce One is the mobile platform. They just announced a new partnership with Apple too. So now it's going to be even more integrated to iOS. So you'll be able to use the face scanning to get into the application, and developers will be able to build things that are far more iPhone-centric within the applications that they build on top of Salesforce. But I mean, that's a little more advanced. Just looking at the CRM, that's all in Salesforce One, which is included in the platform.
That was a fairly new announcement, wasn't it? So
it was just a Dreamforce last month. Yeah.
Sugar, it's got a fine mobile app. A lot of folks use it. I use the mobile app on my iPhone, and I use my browser on my iPad. Works on both iPhone, iPad, and Android devices, and it's a great tool. It's fine. And
it's editable and totally configurable.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you can configure it point and click from within Sugar, but there's also an SDK if you want to customize it. So that you get flexibility there too.
Cool. Okay. All right. Great.
All right. So this brings us to the demo portion, Salesforce versus Sugar, and I am going to flip a coin to decide who goes first. So Kevin, I'll let you call it. Which one you want?
Oh boy. Okay.
Ready?
Ready? Heads.
And
one for heads.
It's heads. You win, Kevin. So
Woo.
Kevin,
okay.
Go ahead and kick things off with SugarCRM.
I'm going to stick to my 15 minutes. I got a timer going on my desktop. I got my timer right here.
Oh, good. I was going to time it for you, but that's fine.
I want to make sure there's no shenanigans going on here. Okay. I'll share my screen. We'll get right to it.
Okay.
Give me a moment here. Come on. I'm trying to share it. Not seeing it yet. I covered over the wrong thing. Okay. Trying to, oh yeah, you have to pass it to me. That's why I couldn't see it. Sorry
there you
about that. Okay.
Muted.
You should be seeing my instance of SugarCRM. Great. I'm going to do 2 minutes tour of the dashboard and how Sugar's navigated. So you're going to see a couple of things here. This is the main dashboard. I've logged in as a fictitious user named Jim. He's a VP of sales, but he also carries some of his own accounts. So you're going to see some managerial things. He's overseeing salespeople. But you're also going to see him managing his own sales. You're just going to see things that a direct salesperson would see. This dashboard here is something that Jim would have created on his own. Now, it doesn't mean that every user has to create something on their own. There are defaults, of course, but Jim, being the intrepid sales manager, wants to create some dashboards that are going to be appropriate for him. So, for example, he's got something called Opportunities by Lead Source. This box that I'm dragging around right now is called a dashlet. Client Health, this is another dashlet. A lot of dashlets, multiple dashlets, make up a dashboard. There can be one dashboard or many dashboards. You're going to see a little bit further down in this demo how we use dashlets in another context, not just on dashboards, but in side panels. But this dashboard is something that gives Jim everything he wants to see in one spot. So, for example, this graphical dashlet for Lead Source, Client Health. This is kind of a combination of tabular data and some graphics here. What's going on with his clients? He's got a dashlet for alerts. Activities, keeps track of all his activities. Customer journeys, this is where they are in their engagement with a customer. So this dashboard has a lot of components to it, and that gives him an idea of the things that he needs on a daily basis. Now, before I leave dashboards, I want to show you how Sugar's navigated. Across the top, you see the main menu items, leads and contacts, their clients, opportunities, service requests, reports. Done a little bit of configuration for this demo. So some of these, the module names may be different than what our current Sugar users see. Just speaks to the flexibility of Sugar, but these are the modules where you do most of your work. I'm going to go to the leads module now. This is a list view. Again, a little bit of configuration. It may not be what standard out-of-the-box users are going to see, but it gives me an idea of who I'm talking to, where I am in the pursuit of this lead. I can score this lead. In this case, it would have been a manual score, but you could tie this into your sales, your marketing automation tool. Put a lead rating in here. I can know who the client is, and then some information that I would have put in there because I want to see the city, state, and their phone numbers. Again, this is configurable by the end user. And the end user can say, I want to see a couple of things. I'm going to create a filter. And I got a lot of leads here. It says that I've got 45. Rather than look through all of them, I may have more than 45 on some days. I want to create a filter. And I can look at things that, just the ones that are assigned to me, or the ones that have been recently created, or the ones that have been recently viewed. These are filters that I can use and reuse, or clear them and go back to my main list, or create a new lead, a new filter. So I'm going to say, I want to find a, excuse me, I want to find all of my leads that are in Maryland. It'd be great if I could spell it correctly. And so here's a filter that brings up one lead. Angelina Jolie, she's in process. She's got a good lead rating. She works for Yahoo. So this is filtering. You might see filtering later on in other places inside Sugar. I can get rid of this filter, back to my main lead view. But not all of your leads are going to be in here from the beginning. Sometimes you got to create a new lead, right? Leads can be created in multiple ways. It's not uncommon for people to use a web page to create a lead. Sugar's got a capability to handle incoming web forms and create leads, but I'm going to do it manually right now by hitting this Create button. The Create button here is going to let me create a new lead record. And this is similar whether I'm talking about leads or accounts or contacts. So I'm going to say it's Kevin, no, better yet, Sonia Friedel. She's a lead. As much or as little information as I can provide. All of these fields here are configurable, by the way. So if you want to remove fields or you want to add fields, that's pretty easy to do. Not within the scope of this demonstration, but it's pretty easy to add and subtract fields. So I'll hit the Save button, and now I've created a lead record. There's Sonia. By the way, I'm going to show you something about this lead record. On the right-hand pane here, remember I promised you were going to see dashlets a little later. I've got dashlets about the customer journey, how I'm engaging with this customer. Activities, of course we don't have any planned activities because she's a new lead. And of course you don't have any history. But the idea is that I've got another panel on the right-hand side where I can put more dashlets. Again, information that may be appropriate for me as I'm looking at a lead record. There's another dashlet that I'd really like to show you about. It's called Hint. And I'm going to do something here. It's looking up Sonia. It's going out to the web and it's doing some searching. It's trying to find information about Sonia. So it says, oh, I found Sonia. She works for example.com. Not really. And that company's in the internet and software services space. And oh, here's an address for her. So it's going to be able to fill in some of the information that I might be missing. This is a product that Sugar offers called Hint. Find it very useful. I'm going to collapse the side pane here, get back to my main lead view. Now that I've created a lead, what's the next step in getting to my final destination? Converting the lead. And converting it means we go from a lead who's not qualified to a contact who is qualified. So lead record is an unqualified person, but a contact and an account record are usually associated with qualified people. Now, qualification is your threshold, not ours and not Sugar's. So how do I do that? I go to my edit button. I come down here. I'm going to hit convert, and it allows me to create a new lead, a person called Sonia Friedel. She works for example.com. And I can put in some address information. I'll say she works at 458, even though I had address information in this previous screen. I can't remember it. I can create this new client record. It's a company. And maybe I can create an opportunity. I'm going to say really big sale. I won't put any information in that. So it's converting Sonia's unqualified lead record into a qualified contact, a company record called a client, and an opportunity. And I can see that here. Now I'm at her contact record, all converted. Where was that opportunity? I'm going to manage that opportunity because really it's all about buying and selling and making money and doing business. So I scroll down here and I see all sorts of information. Oh, I just scrolled past some interesting stuff. What was it? This is the metadata about Sonia. Some of this may have been filled in from Hint, that product I told you about earlier. Some may be stuff that I put in manually, but the idea is that right now I can add or subtract information about Sonia. This is another thing that's fully configurable here. I can take these subpanels like show more and create tabs across here. There's a lot of flexibility. What am I seeing down below? I'm seeing things that are related to Sonia, other records. So besides her phone number and address information at the top, I can see opportunities that are associated with Sonia. And now I'm looking at that opportunity that I just created, that really big sale. I can use my eyeball and preview the record in the right-hand pane. They call that the info pane. I get lots of information about this. As I start working this opportunity, making phone calls, this is going to populate, so I'm going to see more information here. And what's really cool is not just me, but my colleagues will be able to see it. So maybe my supervisor, or remember I said Jim manages people? Jim will be able to see all the people that he manages and what they're doing to pursue this opportunity. Keep checking my clock. How am I doing on time? Still good? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to create, I'm going to close that, and I'm going to open up this really big sale. And now I'm editing the sale, the opportunity. It's very similar to the previous record. I've got information about the opportunity here, and then below, I can start creating activities. Now, I'm doing this manually, but if you're tied into your phone system, your VoIP system, you may be able to have it automatically create these records. If that's the case, you wouldn't do this, but I'll do it manually to show you what it looks like. So I'm creating an initial call. I'm going to say that I held it, but it could be scheduled for something next week, sometime next week. It fills in the dates and times right now. I don't need to repeat. I can have as much information or as little information as necessary. Some people like to put in detailed call notes here. I'm not that kind of guy. I just want to save the record just so it goes into my CRM and it says that I held the call. And now look, here's my opportunity. It's related to this call record. And now not just I, but my supervisors and my colleagues can see that I placed a call on this date regarding this opportunity. And there are other things too. If you're using the Outlook plugin, maybe you make meetings on your calendar. Those are going to get synchronized. If you're sending emails, those are going to be synchronized down here. So the idea is that as I'm looking at my opportunity record, I get a complete view of everything I've done. I'm going to finally close this out. See, this is a really cool opportunity. Well, actually, no, I'm going to move forward because I'm running out of time here. So I'm going to just leave this open. Let's say that now I know that I got this opportunity out here, but they've called in and they've got some problems because they're an existing customer and they need support. So it's not just closing the sale, but it's also managing support for the customer. I can see that in my service requests module. So I've clicked in the module. I got a list of all the service requests out there. Just like with any other module, I can preview it. I can see information about it. And I can open up this preview, or I can open up this record. So I'm looking at a service request because the customer, Globex Americas, is having problems with an invoice. They're not quite sure about the invoice. Well, it's assigned to Will. Really important to know. I'm not logged in as Will, but I can see this record. Maybe I'm Will's boss. So I'm going to look at this. He didn't categorize it. This is an internal service request. It requires some follow-up. It's an address change. That's why they're having problems with their invoice. And anything else that might be appropriate here. So there's a lot of types of fields and a lot of things that I can provide. Now let's say that I'm the service rep and I can I help them out. It was all about changing the address on the invoice, so I helped them change the address, and now my status is closed. Oh, happy day. If I go to the Globex America site, I'm going to see information about Globex America on the Globex record. But then as I scroll down, and by the way, now we've got a very, very highly populated site because we've been doing a lot of work with them. I can see this service request and how the service request has been closed. So my next call to this customer, I may tell Sarah, hey, we solved your problem. Got it done. I see myself as having another minute. Am I right, Sarah? Do I have another minute? Yay. Okay, I want to show you reports. I've been going super fast, guys. I hope this has been helpful, but I want to show you reports before we leave this. Sugar's
unmuted.
And they've got a really great reporting module. If there's data inside Sugar, you can report on it. So there's different kinds of reports, summations, rows and columns, even a thing called a matrix report. I think they're really great. You can preview the reports here and get some information about them. It's a vertical report, vertical bar chart. I'm going to see if I've got some great data in here. So this is telling me something about marketing, opportunities and how I'm marketing to them, and I can see what's going on inside this report. I've got a graphical output at the top of my report and then tabular data at the bottom, and it allows me to drill into the items that comprise that particular sector of the report. So, I went over by a couple of seconds, but I think I'm done. Okay?
Awesome.
Great.
Nice work. All right. Sarah, do we have any more poll questions or we're not?
No, I think
done,
we
right?
just had the first one. Yes. So
Great.
I think just
or any questions before
Yeah,
I
we can take some questions as we go.
nothing yet. But feel free to, anyone who has questions, just put them right in the question box. So Macy, what version of Sugar were you using, Kevin?
This is the latest and greatest version of Sugar, Sugar 8.2, and I'm using the Enterprise Edition. Now it has been tweaked slightly for this demo, so there are a few things that would not necessarily be out of the box. But it is the latest and greatest version of Sugar Enterprise.
All right. Excellent.
Okay.
Great. Well, y'all can see my screen.
Yep.
I hope. Awesome. So I am going to start my timer as well. And we're going to start on a dashboard. So this is Salesforce Enterprise, although I'm not really going to show you anything that would not be in Professional. And we'll go over pricing just after this. So what we're seeing here is a dashboard, pretty similar, right? And you can put really anything on a dashboard. It can be a list view of something. It can be a report that has a picture. It can be a widget. It can be latest news, things feeding in from websites. And if I click on a report, it's a bit different than Sugar. If I actually click on a value in a report, it brings me to the report. It doesn't do the pop. So it's just a little difference. Going back, dashboards you can set up permissionable. It's very similar to Sugar in that you can set up permissions for people. So I want all of my, my sales reps to see this versus my managers seeing this, and you can push those out so that they all see that. And as many dashboards as you want to make, it's open season there. Very, very easy to make point and click. The home button is really what you can set that as an administrator as well, but this just shows me kind of overall what's the performance. And then Assistant is really neat. Assistant and Salesforce does have a lot of baked in AI and intelligence, and it's just getting better. And this will kind of point out, okay, you haven't done anything for 30 days on this opportunity. It needs attention. So it will call some things out, pretty neat. And again, just things from the news, and then it will point out if I have any meetings or tasks on my calendar, it will point them out here in recent records. So very, very configurable. Then hopping over to leads, and just another thing to note, you can just kind of drag and drop these items per user. So it just changes it for me, the user, but I'm just configuring my screen by dragging and dropping things. When I click on something, same as Sugar, it brings me to a list view, and it will always bring me to recently viewed if that's the default. But I'll just go here to all open leads, and it renders a nice list here. So Salesforce kind of does a good hover functionality where you can just kind of hover over something and it will pop out more information. You'll see that as I go through when I drill in. But then I've also got filters. Again, very similar to Sugar in that I can create my filters and save them. It saves them here on this side, and I just made one for lead source equals these things, done, and it will filter down the list. So you can actually save your filters and then share them out with other people as well. And then I can just tuck that back in and see what I want to see. Some other things on the dashboard, I can see charts, so it actually renders like a nice little chart view in the side panel here, and I can toggle and again add things to this nice little chart view. And I can see things in Kanban view, which is my favorite. And you can do this with opportunities. I'll show that as well. But if I just want to go ahead and change the status from new to working, bloop, do that, and it changes Amy's status right there. Really like that view. So now let's create something new, and I can do that in several different ways, just like Kevin said, over email, like right through my Gmail or Outlook integration. I could create a lead. It could be porting in from my website if I was tracking a form, or if I had something like Acton or Pardot integrated. But I'll just click here for new lead, and this is new. And of course, all these things that you're going to be able to just point and click, configure all the different drop downs and everything. I'll be putting in Jim. Board, who is BrainSell's CEO. And industries, okay, we're going to go ahead and move on. And lead source, this came from a referral internally, and he's hot. Ready to make a decision. The address, this is really neat. It will use this kind of Google address search that's already baked in. And I'm just going to type our address. And it's taking my location because it asked me if it could read where I am. And then it embellishes it with local addresses here. And it's going to make sure that it fits perfectly and that it doesn't leave it up to the sales rep to put in the zip code, because I'm not really lazy, but I'm not really putting in zip codes all the time. So it will do that. So save a new, lead was created, boop, and brings me right to Jim's screen for his lead. Now there's stages, of course, and you can progress things along and you can set your stages per your company's criteria, of course. So as you notice here, there's certain things. So I've got industry and number of employees, and when I go to working, it changes it to mobile and phone. So each level of qualification, it asks for different information. These are all settings, of course, that you can set. You could just have, yeah, someone's qualified or they're not, and whatever, and make it really simple. Then you've also got a guidance pane, and you can, as an administrator, you can set what it says in here. So you can really guide your users as they're going along the process and make things required or not, right? To edit something, you just press the pencil, and then I go right here, and he's in communications, sure, and we have 66 employees, save. There you go. Now, as I go down here, and all these screens look pretty similar, I've got activity, and something that I really like about Salesforce is it's very easy. I'm in a trial. I just spun up a new trial instance, and I can right from here, I can connect this to O365 and start sending emails right through this interface. Okay, really neat. So it's going to look a lot like this. So it's going to say email here. So the subject line is, you know, following up on the proposal I sent, and I'll just say, you know, hi Jim, blah, 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 blah. And then I just press save. And in the case of the email, I press save and send. It sends the email. It can also archive it, and it puts a carbon copy right there. Of course, it still lives in my sent mail in my 365. So when I'm just looking at my email, I also see that email that I sent Jim. Pretty slick interface and really easy to set up, which is awesome for sales users. So then you're just going to see kind of a nice timeline. It just kind of builds here, and it'll show everything in order. It'll show tasks, events, which are meetings, or anything like that. I've got a chatter pane, so we can really interact with users. I can ask other users questions. I can start a poll, lobbying internal users. You know, I can just say, you know, Jim loves dogs. I can share that. People can comment. It's kind of like Twitter, right? I like it, and someone can comment. So they could say, you know, at Sonia, you know, I love that. And even has a little WYSIWYG here. So pretty cool. Then this person will get notified however you choose, email, text, anything. It's pretty easy to configure that. Then I've got more details, which is what you're used to seeing in a CRM product probably, which is like, you know, just the Rolodex data. It's all right here. And you can order these however you like. Then also it will show me news, and it will pull stuff according to our website. So if I sign in with Twitter, it will configure my Twitter, and I can connect with this person or this company right from here. And then it'll also show stuff that matters for this industry or this type of company. So good talking points. And then other things that you can configure on the screen, right? Files, notes, contracts, like anything on the side, totally for you. So I'm marking these statuses as complete. I'm maybe skipping over a couple because I talked to him and he is ready to go. So I could convert it from a little button up here, or I could just simply say mark as stage converted. And at this point, it goes through a similar process of Kevin's where it says, okay, I want to create something new, or I think he already exists and I'm just going to add him as a contact, attributing it to an existing account. It will also try to call out a duplicate. They both do a pretty similar job of doing that. So it's going to look for the similar spelling and call it out. It doesn't see any brain cells or gem words, so it's going to let me create those. And then also, it pre-fills it, that's nice, with opportunity BrainSell. And this is going to be, you know, 25 users, sure. Or I could say, no, there's no opportunity here yet. I just want to convert him because I'm going to go have an in-person meeting with him to dig a little deeper. Right, and he's qualified, that has a status, that defaults to it, and I could change that. I press convert. And all that happens, yay, on the mountain. And it even gives me the logo because it read what our logo is from our website, and that's pretty and exciting for salespeople. Okay, I've created the lead, I've converted it. Now we're gonna look at the opportunity. First, I wanna kind of look over the account view, and then we'll dig into Jim's opportunity and sell it and close it. Look at a report. So here I am on the account screen. Again, our logo came in, not through me uploading it, but through the web, just kind of finding it and searching it. There could be an account hierarchy. If we had an ownership company or we owned other companies, it could all link there. And I'm seeing the same kind of layout here, right? Where I've got my related stuff. I see that opportunity that I already made. If I hover, this is where the hover capabilities come into play. I'm not clicking anything. It just lets me now hover, and I could click on this opportunity and go right into it. Same thing as I go down, I see that contact Jim. I could add another contact if I knew another person that worked there. And look at that, my call from the lead stage copied over, and it's showing here in this side panel. So this will just grow as I keep doing stuff with this person. And same thing from here, I can even do that email right from here. It really keeps me in the product. And anything else, and again, configurable. So let's go into this op. Again, I'm hovering, this time in a little bit of a different area, and it pops out a gray box and it shows me what I want to see. You can configure what pops up in the box as well. And I'm showing lightning, so for all of you that maybe heard classic lightning, this is lightning. And you can actually toggle to classic. There are certain things in classic that have not come over in the functionality or the UI of lightning. So some organizations are still running classic. But this is you will get lightning if you're a new customer, you get lightning. So very similar screen to the lead, right? An opportunity is the same exact thing that's in Sugar. It's the thing that we're selling, the opportunity, the deal. Hopefully you have lots of opportunities with one contact or account throughout the life cycle of you working with them. And this is just that. It's my first opportunity, 25 users of something. The description, we'll put that in, this is, 25 users of Intact ERP. And yes, I did confirm the budget. And this could open up another dependent field saying, well, how much is their budget? Save. All right. And then, I had a call with him today, and this could all be integrated just like Sugar to my phone system, which would be even cooler, right? So when someone calls in, it could pop out. That would be an extra fee, but there's so many apps out there for all these CRM products that help you integrate your phone system, which is huge because salespeople don't like doing this stuff, right? You got to make it easy for them. So confirmed that his budget is 100K and will sign in 2018. Save. That's great. And now it's logged it. So I've moved along. I've gone through the needs analysis stage. I have also put in the amount now. I would make this a required field, obviously. Demo instance doesn't think so, but the amount that it's going to cost is about 100,000. We did the discovery. And in our instance, we would probably have a discovery panel as one of these stages. So one of these stages would be the discovery stage. Just imagine this, right? And it would be like the BANT process, budget, authority, need, timeline. But in our process, we're really like discovering about someone. So what email platform do they use? How many users would they have? What kind of computers do they use? So you can ask all those questions and on and on. Then I've gone to the proposal stage, negotiation, and yay, I have actually won the deal. Hooray. Look at that. Keep up the good work. And that will, of course, then attribute to my pipeline, my forecast, and get me closer to achieving my quota. I have another minute left, so I'm going to add a case because we've closed this, and that's all good. But now we've got to support the customer, and they've called in and they have an issue. So case, and you do have full support case management. And here, let's just go right back to BrainSell and create one through here. You don't have to have Service Cloud. You might have heard that. Service Cloud, Marketing Cloud. You do get full case management support within Sales Cloud, which is what I'm showing you. It's really basic though. It's not like Zendesk or anything. So the type is it's a question, and he emailed me about it, and it's an existing problem. And this could all filter in through email, just like with Sugar, but it's cannot log in and needs user reset for Intact. And please send him a one-pager. He keeps asking. And then anything else you want to ask, you can. So you press save, the case is created, and then you could have all sorts of workflow and rules around this. If the case ages, it's more than 2 days old, escalate it, send Jim an email saying we're attending to it, whatever. So that's creating a case right there. All right, I'm going to go because I don't have a whole lot of time. I'm just going to go really quick to a pipeline report. I think I've got 30 seconds. And I just wanted to show you. I just wanted to show you what's in the pipeline report. So it's pretty similar. And I can see the stages, type, opportunity, anything I want. I can manipulate the output down below, and I could, you know, export this as a PDF or email it to someone, just like Sugar. How'd I do?
Cool. So I actually have a couple of questions from Patricia.
Great.
She asks, can leads be imported from conference attendee lists, et cetera? Also, are there card scanners that can bring the lead into either of these products?
Yes. Great question. So there's an import functionality. I don't think this user is enabled for that, but you'd see an import wizard, and there's an import wizard for both products where you're able to just serve up a CSV, and then it will load them up, and you could attribute them to that trade show. Both products have campaign management, so you could even say how much you spent on the trade show, and then every lead that converts and sells an opportunity goes to closed one, you will actually get a positive ROI eventually. So it will actually calculate those. Both products will. And then card scanners, yes, they're both.
Cool. And then one other question from Patricia. She asks, when you send an email through the CRM, it keeps a copy in the record. If the recipient responds, does their response automatically go into the CRM record, or does it have to be copied from your Outlook and pasted into the record?
So for Salesforce, if they're answering within that, and you've got your email hooked up, yes, you can default it to log right in there. Then with the Outlook integration, if you don't have that, you know, interface that I showed you with 365 there, you can default it to log from certain people, so it archives certain records automatically. And it's the same with Sugar, right, Kev? You can archive certain things. No.
Oh.
That's weird.
I don't know how you got muted. 1 second, Kevin.
There you go.
Nope. There you go.
There we go. Thank you. Yeah, the question was about the Outlook integration, and just like with Salesforce, you can set it however you like. You can say that everything in this thread should be automatically archived, in which case it copies the whole email, including attachments if you want them, into Sugar. Or you can say don't automatically archive and make it a manual process each time. Or you can say archive everything to everybody all the time, everywhere. So you have a lot of flexibility with it.
Great. Okay, let's move on.
Pricing. Pretty straightforward.
Yep.
What you see is what you got here. So for Sugar, there is that 10 user minimum, but Professional 40, Enterprise 65, and Salesforce 75 or 150.
Now, Sonia, I have a Salesforce question for you.
Yeah.
I know the answer, but I'm asking anyway. You can mix and match license types with Salesforce, correct? So you could have some people on Enterprise and some people on Professional. The answer is yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I believe so. It's important to note that we don't have anything to do with the licensing. So we don't know as much about the licensing in Salesforce as we do with Sugar. But
yeah. But I bring that up because there are sometimes very rare cases where you may have combinations of licensing and that you need. You can do that with Salesforce, but not with Sugar. Everybody's got to be on Professional, or everybody's got to be on Enterprise.
Okay.
Sugar.
Yeah, I can't say yea or nay to that because I don't know.
All right.
Yeah, and that's about it. A lot of the differences you'll see right on their websites too what the main differences are between the editions. There's an edition comparison, but certainly we would love to help you, look at what you need and if one of these systems is appropriate or not, or even if you're using them and you're having low adoption, we love to fix those. Do we have any questions, Sarah?
Yeah. So Roger asks, and I don't know if you guys have the answer to this off the top of your head. We can always follow up if not. But the data overage pricing in each of these?
So we know what it is in Sugar. We don't have that pricing for Salesforce, and that's a lot of times that's kept in their book, because I think a lot of times it's on volume pricing and who you are and how many licenses you have. Do you remember off the top of your head, Kev, what it is for Sugar?
Off the top of my head, I have very little on the top of my head, but off.
I only have one customer that pays Sugar.
Yeah,
by the way,
I believe it is $500 a year for 5 gigabytes extra.
And that's a lot in CRM speak.
It is a lot in CRM speech.
It's so cheap, though. It's so inexpensive.
Yeah, it's so cheap that unless you've got a very unique instance, you probably don't need to worry too much about data overages.
Yeah. Yep. Literally have one customer out of maybe we have 2 customers out of a few hundred that, need extra storage. It's just
right. I had one customer that was taking service calls, and they had an automated connection to their VoIP system, so they were storing the audio recording of every service call inside their CRM. Not a great practice, but they were going over for storage reasons. They had storage issues.
Got it.
But that's very rare.
Right. All right. Any more, Sarah?
Yeah, we have a couple more. Patricia asked that I put the pricing slide back up, which is why I went back to that one. But Jenny asks, without getting into the weeds, what is the greatest difference between professional and enterprise versions across both of the platforms?
Kev, I'll let you handle Sugar.
Okay. I'll go real quick. I won't get in the weeds, I promise. With professional, you have of Sugar, professional edition of Sugar. You got almost everything that Enterprise has. Enterprise allows you to put line items on an opportunity. So you can have an opportunity that comprised of, 4 or 5 different line items like software and hardware or whatever, services. Enterprise also has different ways that it handles role or what's visible. So the visibility and invisibility of records, you can assign those to teams in different ways. And Enterprise also has a few features that may be really important to you. One's called advanced reporting. In Enterprise, very few people really need advanced reporting, but it is a distinct feature. And then Sugar Enterprise also allows you to have process definitions, which is also called, it's not the official name, but people also call it advanced workflow. So process definitions are pretty advanced workflows that Sugar Professional doesn't have. There are some other smaller features, but those are the biggest ones.
Great. Yeah, I always say phone support and process builder.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, big ones. And then in Salesforce, they're kind of similar too. There are actually a few versions. There's actually another version under Professional called Essentials, and that's just like a contact manager. It's pretty basic, but that's a new offering that they're doing. That's $25 a user a month. It's very slim though. It's really like you can't customize any of those stages or anything like that. With Professional in Salesforce, you're missing that large process builder. So that workflow, that enhanced workflow engine you don't have. That's just like the Sugar version too. So you need Enterprise to make big workflows or even like comprehensive workflows. And you also can't do any of the custom coding at all on Professional. You need to have Enterprise. And also there's some forecasts. So it's very similar to Sugar's advanced forecasting or forecast management that's pretty detailed is only possible in Enterprise. Yeah.
Great. So here's an interesting question from Patricia. She asked, do either of these products include marketing automation? And if not, can a standalone marketing automation program integrate into the CRM?
So
you want to start, Sonia?
The latter. So neither of them have a baked-in free automation platform or marketing platform. You can send emails from both of them, but it's using your email provider. It doesn't have any constant contact. Or Pardot is an extra fee, or Marketing Cloud's an extra fee, but both of them have strong integrations to several automation platforms.
Yeah, now Sugar does have some built-in marketing. So you may have seen this, Patricia, as you're searching around. Don't you be misled. There is a campaigns module, but if you're at all serious about marketing, Sonia's right. You need a third-party tool. It's really only for the most basic things.
Yeah, it's the same in Salesforce. Yep.
All right, and then one more. How much can let's see, how much can Salesforce be customized compared to SugarCRM?
A lot. It can really be customized. I mean, you can do pretty much, a lot to it. There are certain things though that you have to stay in bounds because they have a pretty tight architecture, but custom coding is there for you in enterprise, but they're not going to let you break anything. Integrations are totally possible as well. It's just a little more locked down, kind of like developing on the iOS platform versus Android, which is a little more open. We always kind of use that comparison with Salesforce being that Apple lockdown platform where they want to keep you in bounds.
Yeah, I would say I'd agree with Sonia. Neither platform is going to limit you as to what you can do. You'll be able to get what you need done. You just have guide rails with Salesforce that you may not have with Sugar, or the guide rails are a little wider with Sugar. I do think that for the end user, Sugar is a little bit easier to configure. So that's my personal opinion, but a lot of people agree with me that Sugar is a little bit easier to configure for the end user. Doesn't mean that there are things you can't do in Salesforce. It's just not as easy for the end user.
All right. And then a follow-up question to the marketing automation was, can you easily integrate SugarCRM with Mautic, which is a free marketing automation?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Mautic, yeah. The short answer is Sugar can be integrated. Easy? I'll defer that question. There's not a plug-and-play integration. Well, that's not true. There is a plug-and-play connection from Mautic to Sugar, but it's not very feature-rich. It just only does the basic things. It synchronizes contacts and lists, I believe.
Yep. All right. And that looks like all the questions. Thank you. Those are some great questions, and thank you, Sonia and Kevin, for answering them for us. So that concludes our webinar for today. We will be sending out follow-up emails with the recording of this webinar so you can watch it again, share it with your colleagues. And we hope you found this informative. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.